I did think that they would be better with the addition of JB Bickerstaff because I thought that he brought a toughness over there. I did. I thought that he brought a culture of guys being held accountable, and I thought that that would be different, which wasn't going on last year. So that part I thought would make them better. And I didn't think that it'd be ridiculous for this team to go from 14 wins to maybe 25. If I was being generous, I was thinking maybe 25. I didn't think that they would be close to the play-in, but I did think that they would get better. I did not think that they would be this good, which goes back to the original statement that you made about competent coaching or just competent NBA players. I mean, how far away if you're replacing? I mean, Fontecchio was still on the crew last year. Duran was on the crew. Like you said, Cunningham, Isaiah Stewart. These guys were all on the crew last year. And then you take out, I mean, you add guys like Ryan, you add guys like Holland, who's a rook, who I'm not sure he's going to play in the playoffs, but you add guys like that, and you add vets, and then it seems to be honest with you, Moss, it seems like competent coaching is the difference in this thing more than anything.
I mean, yeah, last year they had Isaiah Stewart shooting threes.
No,
this year Isaiah Stewart, he barely shoots threes anymore. Like what they would like, Isaiah Stewart was on the roster last year. That's factual. But the way they used Isaiah Stewart last year and this year, he's basically two different players. So even though the name on the jersey is the same, he's not the same Isaiah Stewart because he's just being used correctly. So even then, it's like, yeah, you can say these guys, came back, so they have a lot of the same roster. But how much of that roster is being used the same way they were being used last year? Jaden Ivey last year was being used as a bench player behind Killian Hayes.
That's nuts.
Like, so the name is the same, but the way they were being used is not, which is why JB Bickerstaff gets a lot of credit for just maximizing, in some ways, a lot of the young guys, and then also the vets and what they've brought to the table in terms of just NBA level value is huge. Like since January, so in 2025, the Pistons have the 7th best net rating in the NBA. They've been one of the best teams in the NBA. Like if you leave out the top 3 teams, which I think everyone has the same top 3, OKC, Boston, and Cleveland, they're like in that group of the next group of teams: Minnesota, the Clippers, the Pacers, the Pistons, the Warriors,
since January 1.
The Rockets. Yeah. So since the calendar year of 2025, they've been in that next group of teams. They've been really good, especially defensively.
No, they haven't.
They have
don't believe this, chill.
They have been, man. They have been, man. That's what they do, man. The 3rd in defense in the year of 2025. Like
that, I can't believe.
Like they're a really good defensive team, and Cade's like still shoulders the offense to where like the offense is solid, and Cade has been getting better in my opinion, like throughout the season. Like I'm very excited to see Cade in the postseason.
Cade is so nice.
Losing Cade for that stretch that they lost him, I think that's why they ended up in the 6th spot. I think if he was healthy, I think that they'd have a real shot at that 5 or that 4 spot. Legit shot.
How many did he miss?
I think he missed like 5. I think it was something like 4 or 5 games with that calf injury. Might have been more. It might have been more, but losing him was a pretty big deal. That was a huge
They missed him from game 72 to 77, so 6 games. They only lost 2 of them, to be fair. But and then he missed the last game of the season, but their seeding was already
solidified. Sure.
So yeah, I think they're just a really good team. Now I don't know if they're going to beat the Knicks, but they are just a really good team, and I do think it's going to be a tough series. Whoever wins it, I don't think it's going to even if a team did sweep the other, it would be a tough sweep. And so, like, I just think it's a tough series, and I'm very excited to see it.
Yeah, and if you were on the outside looking in, like, let's say you hadn't watched a single game of basketball this year, let's say you just didn't know about the NBA, and all of a sudden you just jumped on YouTube, you clicked into the panel, and you liked the video, and you just were watching this, you would think that, like, the Detroit Pistons were this all-time great team. And what we are trying to tell you guys is that they've came a long way.
Yeah.
Last year it was bad times. We made the poverty comparison. Last year they was in the slums. They was eating what they call it, Mars? Beans and what?
No, they wasn't even that, bro. They was eating mayonnaise sandwiches and water. That's what we was doing. Nope, we ain't doing even oodles. We can't get no oodles and noodles, Ox, because we gotta have money for that. We got government cheese and government bread and mayonnaise sandwiches. That's what we was eating.
Government cheese, you can't shit for a month.
You can't. Absolutely. And to your point, Ron,
so that was drinking sugar water.
That's what we was doing. Sugar water, which we had to borrow the sugar from next door too, by the way. Like we wasn't able to buy that sugar. The next door neighbor gave us that sugar and mayonnaise sandwiches. So that's what they was doing.
We're not putting no mayonnaise. We're just eating straight bread. Ain't eating no mayonnaise sandwich.
It was awful. It was terrible. So and Ron, I'm surprised. Ron, I'm surprised that you're not buying into what Detroit has been doing, since this calendar year. How much better defensively? I mean, they've beaten the Knicks 3 to 4 times they played them.
Chill, right? I'm trying. This feels like an illusion right now.
It's not though, B. The reason why it's not is because I want you to look at them on the defensive side of the ball more than anything. And
okay. See, that's what I need to do. That's what I need to do.
I think you need to look at them on the defensive side of the ball more than anything. Mars and I have had this conversation how important rebounding is. And Jalen Duren is one of those guys who shores up and gets stops just from his ability to rebound. And then you add in Isaiah Stewart, who to Mars's point is being used way different than what he's being used this year. You put him, JB Bickerstaff is putting him on 3s. He's putting them on 4s. And him being the bruiser that he is and getting on the glass the way he does, they get way more stops than they were doing last year. Way more stops than they were doing last year. So I don't want you to focus on the Detroit Pistons on the offensive side of the ball, even though they're good as Malik Beasley is and as good as Cade Cunningham has been. I want you to focus on them, how hard they play and what and their shifts on the defensive side of the ball, how much better they've been.
I mean, it now thinking about it, when you got a sore and when you got an enforcer like Beef Stew, kind of. Well, actually, that don't move.
No, it don't. No, wait, hold on. I didn't know this was gonna say move the needle. It moves the needle, but ain't nobody.
We jumping up the clip, Ox.
No, I'm saying, y'all talking about you got an enforcer like Beef Stew. Yeah, it's cool, but he not doing that. Come on, bro.
Ox, certainly you.
And I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard. This ain't the 90s and 2000s, bro. Enforcers don't win series.
I think you're doing a disservice to Isaiah Stewart just by calling him an enforcer. I just think he's a damn good defender. Yeah, I think calling him an enforcer is just acting like all he does is out there is hit people. I think he just plays them in. Well, he does, but I don't think he's an enforcer. I think he looks for a fight, sure. But he's an amazing defensive player, in my opinion. So
he is a really good defensive player. I'm having trouble with this series. I'm not coming in here saying that I got the Knicks just killing the Pistons. I do have the Knicks, I think, winning this series, but I don't. It's just not simple. Like, I'm not trying to disrespect the Pistons. I just don't see them beating them. I'm having a hard time with this series. Like I said, this is gonna be a good one. I just gotta watch.
I know what though. I know what. I bet you if the Knicks lose this series in the first round, y'all dudes talking that shit about running Julius Randle out of town. Cat, get your ass and get gone. Get your ass and get gone. I bet you that. I bet you that.
You know that's how the offseason talks are gonna go. The offseason talks are gonna go that way.
Ripping down Julius Randle posters and having him get out of town and trade Julius Randle. Let the Detroit Pistons bounce the Knicks' ass in the first round.
Especially after the Timberwolves take care of the Lakers too.
Right, and they end up getting out of the first round. Absolutely, Ox, 100%. I want that same energy. I want that same energy for them Knicks. And what's going to happen is the love fest that y'all have for Jalen Brunson, it's going to start to wane a little bit. It's going to start to wane a little bit. That's all I'm saying. I ain't saying that y'all losing to the Detroit Pistons. I think y'all beating them. But if they end up beating y'all, I want that same energy that you have for Julius Randle. Same.
But if he does with Julius Randle in the playoffs, he probably will get that energy. If he doesn't, then there's no reason for them to do that. I don't think they just hated on Julius Randle just because it's because he was doing nonsense in the playoffs every year. I think that's why they started hating. I haven't heard them start hating on Jalen Brunson when they lose in the playoffs because Jalen Brunson plays well.
He gets busy, 100%.
Yeah. So if Cat plays well, they're not going to be like, oh, Cat, But if Cat defense starts holding them back and then offensively he's making stupid, nonsensical offensive fouls and not driving aggressively or driving too aggressively, like if he starts doing nonsense, then they're going to start hating. Yeah, but that's just what fans do. When people play bad, they probably overreact. When people play well, they overreact. That's how it goes.
Well, Mars, that's more of a thing like Chill's I think Chill's alluding to. Like, we know how the fans in New York are gonna react if the Knicks lose. I don't think Chill said if Cat plays bad or if Cat plays good. If the Knicks lose in the first round, if the Knicks lose in the first round,
flaming Cap.
If the Knicks lose, if the Knicks lose in the first round, unless Cat averages 35 and 15, the New York Knicks fans are absolutely gonna gonna piss on Cat. Like that. That's that. I'm not. It doesn't have to make sense. I'm not saying it makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm just simply saying how the New York Knicks fans act.
Okay. We'll see, I guess, if they lose. Yeah.
Yeah, well, New York,
I don't
brace
think they're gonna
yourself.
lose, but
I don't think
Because you in for one. Well, actually, you know what's funny?
what?
The
What's
chat.
Ain't nothing funny, Ron. Ain't nothing funny. I'm gonna tell you like this, Ron. Ain't nothing funny. I'm only here for one reason and one reason only. I had a dentist appointment, but I canceled that appointment because I'm just here to make sure y'all put some respect on Kawhi Leonard. That's what I'm here for.
Oh yeah.
Here we go. Here we go.
You know what I'm saying, and I know we not at that part of the show.
On Real Talk or Jordan or
we not at that part of the show, so I'm gonna be
okay,
cool. But I'm just saying I'm here for one reason and one reason alone.
Let me fan my boy. Let me fan my big fella down a little bit because y'all got his blood pressure up.
I'm gonna chill.
Fan my big fella down because y'all done got his blood pressure up because he ain't want to hear none of that Kawhi Leonard slander. He ain't trying to hear none of that.
None of it.
I mean, well, we
even
we can get into that.
Even though Draymond did shut the door in the fourth, and I don't just mean with that last shot in the fourth quarter, boy, that water it got turned off. Yeah, it did. But anyway, that's we'll get to that in a little bit.
I hate to step in and interrupt this intense yap session that you're currently watching, but I just have to inform you on all the amazing, spectacular, fabulous, endless ways to play and win over at Prize Picks. Basketball fans, I know the season is just tipping off. Yes, I know this. But you know what that means? It means that you have an opportunity to pick your favorite players and their matchups that are the most thrilling, and you can win money from these. With Prize Picks, you can play daily NBA contests and test your hoop knowledge by choosing the player projections and every single stat line imaginable to make your Prize Picks and take home some nice hard-earned cash. Are you a rookie in the game? Don't even sweat it. I got the playbook for you right here. All you have to do is download Prize Picks, use promo code PANEL, and you will get $50 instantly when you play 5 here with Prize Picks. So what are you waiting for? Download Prize Picks, use promo code PANEL, and join me as we break down all of our amazing daily picks right here on the panel. Prize Picks. Run your game, control your game, win your game. It's easy, baby. It's easy.
They started double teaming them, yeah. Ooh.
Which is great. That was a great idea. I'm screaming at the
That's
TV.
good defense. That's good.
That's what I was doing, Mars. I was screaming at the TV. I was like, get the ball out of Kawhi Leonard's hands. Blitz him. It was like Tom Brady under center. I'm like, blitz him every down. Make somebody else do it. I don't care who it is. Get the ball out of his hands. Do not leave him one-on-one with anybody. Get the ball out of his hands. They got this pick and roll.
Kawhi, one of them dudes, he don't care who's in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it remind me of Dirk. Remind me of Dirk. You know, he don't care who's in front of him. None of that matters. You're gonna catch it. You're gonna catch it. You're gonna catch it, and you're gonna catch it too. But whatever you were saying, Ron, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to derail the conversation.
Nah, we about to get directly into that. All I wanted to say is that the chat, 51% of the chat has the Pistons beating the Knicks. 52% of the chat has the Pistons.
Yeah, to be fair, that's a close poll.
Yeah. Shout out Detroit.
Hey, for real, y'all that came a long way. Shout out Gifted too.
Mars, you think the Knicks? You think they handled Detroit? Like, how do you see the series going?
It's really hard for me to say. I think the Pistons match up relatively well. Interested to see what Tibbs does defensively, in terms of hiding guys like Brunson and Cat. Probably leaving some of their questionable shooters, whether that be Asar. Jalen Duren's not a shooter, but JB Bickerstaff does a good way of managing that. Very curious to see who starts off guarding Cade, whether it's Mikal or OG. I don't know which one it's going to be. Probably Mikal, but I think that's a bad matchup. First instinct is just the Knicks are the better team, but I really wouldn't be surprised if the Pistons won. So I guess I'm sitting on the fence. This is what I'm doing.
Well, I know that Tibbs got 9 guys, and because that's the thing I'm concerned with the most. I'm not concerned with his starting 5 because I already know what he has with his first unit. But he's got 9 guys. He's got McBride, he's got Precious, he's got Shammert, and he's got Robinson coming off the bench, right? So with that being said, how is he gonna? No, not Robinson. I'm sorry. Robinson starts. I'm talking about campaign. I apologize. So of those 4 guys, I know who Tibbs is when it comes to the playoffs. That rotation gets shortened, and those starter guys, their minutes go up exponentially, right? So we see these guys like Mikal Bridges, who's already close to leading the league in minutes. We see Josh Hart, who's close to leading the league in minutes. Well, now those minutes are going to go up even more. Why? Because that leash gets even shorter when it comes to guys like Shamet, when it comes to guys like Miles McBride, when it comes to guys like Precious Achiuwa, because your margin of error is even thinner now. So what does that mean for injuries? Because, Ox, I know how you feel about OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby has been relatively healthy this whole season. However, we get to the playoffs and it might get tricky. And it might get tricky because these guys are going to get ran really good off the strength of Tibbs shortening his rotation. I think that could be a major factor in the series.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm with Mars. I need to scoot over a little bit, Mars, make some room on that fence. Because I just can't call it. I think this is going to be a great series. I do want to say, just for the sake of consistency, though, and mind you, I know they do have Tim Hardaway, Tobias Harris, and I guess consider Malik Beasley as well too. They got some experience over there, but I do think that this New York Knicks team, they're more, just cohesive, is like just familiar with each other. You know what I'm saying? They got a lot of experience over there too. So I think we can lean on that a little bit as the as the series gets deeper, 6, 7 games, whatnot. I am sold on a healthy Jalen Brunson's carryability. I'm not sure what Cade's looking like in that type of situation. I don't know if his shoulders can handle the weight. You know what I mean? So if I look at it that way, I would be forced to lean with the Knicks in like a game 6, game 7. I think we can all agree that Jalen Brunson has the carryability nod.
Because he's shown that in the past, 100%.
Sorry, go ahead. You got it.
No, go ahead, Miles. I'm with you.
I was just gonna say, not sure if it's relevant, but we did see Tibbs outcoach JB 2 years ago in the playoffs.
That's true.
In Cleveland.
When they was bullying him?
When the Knicks beat the Cavs, and a lot of people had the Cavs favored in that series. I know I did.
I did.
And Tibbs, I think, drastically outcoached JB Bickerstaff.
Did he outcoach him, Miles, or did he just?
I think so. I definitely think so. I think him forcing JB Bickerstaff to make a decision with Isaac Okoro, whether or not he could play or not. JB Bickerstaff took him out real quick, and then he lost a lot of his defense on that side. And then obviously not having anyone who can match the physicality of the Knicks. Now, some of that might just be they didn't have the personnel, but I also do think that the Cavs everything they did in that series appeared to be reactive. They didn't force the issue on anything. It seemed to be the Knicks were doing things, and JB Bickerstaff was trying to find ways to counter what the Knicks were doing, and they didn't press the issue in any sort of way. So I do think Tibbs outcoached him in that series quite badly.
Which leads me to my point, Mars, because you just brought up him outcoaching him. So if I believe that you have guys on your team that can protect you on the defensive end, I have to keep that same energy with a guy like Cade Cunningham, who's never been in the playoffs. Do I have guys on this crew that can protect him from an offensive standpoint? He's never been in the playoffs before. This is the first time he's been in the playoffs. We've had guys like Malik Beasley in the playoffs. We've had guys like Tobias Harris in the playoffs. JB Bickerstaff has coached in the playoffs. So I have to believe that if I got a guy who can protect me on the defensive end, guys around me, I also have guys who can protect me on the offensive end, put me in space where I can be effective. That means Malik Beasley, who's been in the playoffs, being able to knock down open shots. Tobias Harris, to Ox's point, actually giving me solid minutes where I can get 17, 18. And that 17 and 18 could be a loud 17, 18, where I get 4 or 5 points in stretches where we go on runs. Now, that makes Cade even more viable because now you guys have to be honest defensively. And I can get one-on-ones with Mikal Bridges and Mars. I already know how you feel about him as a defender. So I could get one-on-ones with him, and I can get downhill, and I can get to the rim because their rim protection has been less than this season with Mitchell Robinson being in and out of the lineup. So I got to keep that same energy if I think that a guy is going to be protected on defense. I have to keep that same energy with him being protected in the playoffs on offense too.
Yeah, and also a couple things with Detroit. First off, gotta give JB his credit. And the main reason is because we haven't been talking about JB, but this is somewhat of a redemption story. You don't think JB got a chip on his shoulder?
I think he's the coach of the year, Ron. I do.
I'm with you.
I think he's the coach of the year.
I think what he's done has been the most spectacular thing that I've seen all year in terms of coaching. Like, yeah, it was dope that Kenny went to a good team and took him to the next level. Obviously, it was dope that OKC, who was the number 1 seed last year, is an even better number 1 seed this year. Yep. In that, both of those teams dominated. But once again, from Detroit to come to the slums to where they at, to come from the slums to where they at, a lot of that is due to JB too. And like it's not like they added KD this offseason. It's not like they added a MVP candidate, which, I mean, respect to K, but they didn't add another great player. K just got better, and the rest of the guys got better as well. But I do think a large part of this, which we don't really factor in, is potentially that JB might have just been like, I got something to prove to y'all.
Mars, when I saw your crew, right, it was Animal House over there in Houston, right? But with Ime Udoka, he's had some time to turn that thing around. JB Bickerstaff basically walked into a complete rebuild. When I say rebuild, ain't the word I'm looking for. He walked into a house that all the furniture was all over the place. The windows were busted out. Like, we got to clean this thing up. But we got the tools to do it. I don't really have as much time as Ime Udoka has had, because Ime Udoka has had a couple of years to fix what was going on in Houston. Those guys actually bought in to what he was doing, and it took a little bit of time, but they bought into what he was doing. I feel like with JB Bickerstaff, they bought into what he was doing immediately, and it turned around. And for him to do what he was doing, to your point about the talent that he had, I think that the mentality over there was completely different before he showed up. Now that he's there, he's actually changed that around. He doesn't have a bunch of kids that he's got to turn around. Nah, he had a bunch of adults with losing mentality that he had to turn around. Yes, he did. He had a bunch of adults over there that was like, yo, I'm just here to play. I'm just here to get paid, and I'm here to get out of here. That was it. And JB Bickerstaff was not trying to hear none of that. No, we're here to win. And if you're not, you're going to door.
Like from what Jordan was talking about this yesterday in y'all debate. He just briefly brought up my man Jaden Ivey.
Yep.
Is like what are we looking at, like, with Jaden Ivey? Like, I'm just trying to look into the future. Like, is this going to keep going up for Detroit, or like
probably
next
like
year
a 55 win team? Probably like a 55 win team. Jaden Ivey messed around the average 22, 24 a game. With what they gonna get? What they gonna? Probably like a 50, 55 win team. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think. You got to look at them like how the Rockets were looked at. Like, remember, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, same draft class. Now they don't have Şengün, but respect Jalen Duren. But Jaden Ivey being hurt, averaging I think about 22. I think Jaden Ivey averaged like 22 this year. Or man, no, he may average like 19 or 17, something like that. But if he can make that 19 to 17 grow to about 20, 22 a game, they're gonna get some guys in free agency just the way they play. Like, that's the importance of winning. You get guys who want to come to your city and play because you win. So they add a few pieces. Cade Cunningham take another leap. Why can't they win 50, 55 games in the East? Why can't they compete like that?
I think they pick up the telephone and call up Phoenix and check their temperature on Devin Booker.
Possibly could.
We talked.
You possibly could. And
praying for that.
Just so, because Ox, I gotta call you up, Ox, to find out how you feeling about dudes. I ain't saying that you're gonna hand them over, but I'm gonna call you up to see how you feeling. Hey, what's your plans moving forward with Devin Booker? How you feeling about him these days?
Yeah, and I think they got capital. I think they got capital to get him. I think they got the capital to get him. Like them they put together a master class of role players, and we see this all the time. We see like the Rockets, make a stretch, make a case, and then they get Dylan Brooks, they get Van Vliet, they get guys that want to, turn that culture around and win. The Pistons had a good resume this year, man. I mean, how they do in the playoffs, it's going to tell a lot of people, say, man, they just one superstar away. That's just one. Devin Booker might say, man, they just me away from, taking that team to the finals. And it's very much so possible. And I just feel like the way that they built this team, I mean, I don't know, man. Cade Cunningham make a hell of a leap. Who else can we get besides?
What you mean Cade Cunningham make a hell of a leap?
Make another hell of a leap.
Did y'all see the leap? And that was the other thing I was gonna say.
He might be first team All Pro this year. I mean, how much?
Nah, he's not gonna be first team All Pro.
Hey, but here's the thing, though. If he got it, I wouldn't even trip.
Right. Like he could be.
I promise you, I wouldn't make a fuss about it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. He's in the conversation. I'm not saying he's there, but you know, we've had the conversation about being in the conversation.
Yeah,
20.
I guess we got the conversation about it. You know, I'm willing to talk about anything, Ron. I just don't got.
What if they get a guy like Chris Middleton again? What they get Chris Middleton? Like that helps him out too. Like you don't even got to keep getting. You ain't even got to keep getting heavy hitters. Nah, Chris Middleton, man, we looking at, you know, whatever
compared to D-Book, like it's a lower lift, but it's
of course, but it's a hell of a lift. I mean, they're in the East. They're not in this treacherous West, and I'm not saying the East weak, but it's weaker than the West. But you know, it's just like, man, a guy like that can help them guys out, man. I think they, you know, even if they get somebody in the draft that might not be ready to play right away, it's like it's still they can fit with their culture. Like we gonna see Jalen Duren get better. Isaiah Stewart, I don't know. Maybe he expendable. Maybe somebody want the big bully to come on their team, so they willing to give up. I don't know who could be available.
The thing I'm thinking about with you, Jordan, is like you talking about adding some pieces. What kind of pieces are necessary for this crew? Because they're one of the better defensive teams. So I'm not trying to hear losing Isaiah Stewart. If it's a money issue, that might be something different. But I'm not interested in moving off of him. I don't know who Jaden.
We don't have to either.
Right.
I mean, Jaden Ivey was making leaps, but you know, he just had a freak injury.
And I love what I love what I'm seeing from Jalen Duren. I'm on record saying I think he's going to be on Olympic team in 28. I love everything about this kid. Glass cleaner, really good on the glass. I think he can be a better defender. Now, if you could upgrade at the 5, if you can get something substantial for him, I wouldn't move off of him.
What about Detroit? I mean, what about Denver saying that they may trade Jamal Murray and Porter Jr. this summer? That's another viable piece that we can get over there that can help them guys do something.
What are we doing with Jamal Murray, though? Are we putting him off the ball? Are we taking Jamal Murray?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we can put him off the ball. That's really what he is.
And we're going to play with him and Cade in the backcourt. Because if I'm doing that, then I'm going after Book. I don't need Jamal Murray. I'll take.
You might not get Book though. That's the problem. You might not get Book. I'm just saying Jamal Murray is expendable with Michael Porter Jr. too.
Jordan, you're like one of those like. You know, like you one of them like interior designer type folks. You know what I'm saying? Like you're an interior designer at heart. You walk in the building and be like, yeah, this is nice, but this shit gotta go. I'm moving that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Jordan? Like you see things. I wasn't even expecting that. I'm like, why everybody got to go? We don't got to offer everybody's head. I think Detroit needs to just keep getting better. Now,
I didn't say everybody got to go, Ox. Everybody don't got to go, but I'm just saying they need a heavy hitter.
Yeah, I'm exaggerating. I'm exaggerating what you said a little bit, Jordan. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like you talk about Jalen Duren, beef still like, nah, let them young fellas.
I ain't say Jalen Duren got to go. I didn't say he got to go. Okay. I said if a team wants Isaiah Stewart. I'm just saying, you know, somebody might get their ass punked in the playoffs, and somebody might that happens. Like we know that happens. Like, we need somebody that's going, you know, James Johnson. That's how the Pacers will end up with James Johnson. Like, no, we can't keep getting punked. Call James. We need somebody that set that tone for us. So I'm not saying, and I'm not even saying the Pistons get off of them. They don't necessarily have to get off of them, but it's some heavy hitters out there that I think could help them get over the top. Like, it's just. You know, we just got to be able to check people's temperatures, you know, see who's available. And after that Luka trade, anybody is available. Shit. So, you know,
I just don't know, because the thing about Detroit is I'm pretty sure they happy to be here. and keep in mind,
they belong. They think they belong.
Probably, but they still happy though, like with the progress they made. But also too though, like they ahead of schedule. So
way ahead of schedule.
How much more are they trying to expedite the process? Yes.
Are they?
Yeah, because they don't have a. I mean, Jaden Ivey getting hurt put them behind. So,
Cade's timeline?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, what are we in? What year are we in with Cade? We in year 3 or year 4?
Same year as Jalen Green, so 4, I think.
So we're in year 4 with him. Last year kind of put them behind schedule with Coach Williams. That threw a monkey wrench in what they were doing.
Yeah.
Like we're putting Killian Hayes ahead of Caden Ivey on the depth chart. Like that kind of stuff.
Like,
I know that sounds nuts, Jordan. Yes, it does sound nuts.
That shit was horrible. He was trying to get fired.
Right. When you have competent coaching in there with Cade, with Jaden Ivey, with Jalen Duren, maybe this team is on schedule. and now they're getting back on schedule now, Ron, considering what
Now
they're doing.
they ahead, Chill, because you got to think, man, they lost. Man, Jaden Ivey was playing really good before he got hurt. You know what I mean?
Right.
They lost essentially their second scorer on the team.
So think about how much better. So think about how much better he would have been had Coach Williams played him more last season and had an idea of what he was doing.
I have no idea what Monty Williams was doing.
Yeah, so how much better he would have been. So when I think about them being on, when I think about quote unquote being on schedule, I think that they got set back last year. I think that they actually are on schedule now, considering what they're doing.
So they caught back up to where they.
I think they back on schedule because Ron, me and Mars had this conversation. They begged Monty Williams to take the job. He didn't want the job. They begged him. Not only did they beg him, they gave him $75 million, and he started by saying,
because they were like, this dude is a lunatic.
He didn't want that job, and he said before the season started, he said, "quote It's going to get worse before it gets better." Okay, now with the talent that they have, right? With the talent that they have, that should not be the case. And he has no idea.
It got worse for him.
Right. He has no idea. Actually got better for him because he got $75 million.
Oh, yeah. He's $75 million coaching high school basketball.
Yeah, he coaching high school basketball. So he's straight.
Yeah, I'm jealous of him. I'm going
to
slander his name.
I say that to say I think that they're right. I think they're right where they should be, Ronnie. They're right in 6th place right now. They're a playoff team. I think next year, to Jordan's point, they make a couple of moves. I don't think a lot of stuff needs to change on this Detroit team. They got 6 guys on the crew on rook deals. 6 of them. They ain't that far away, man. They not.
I know, but Chill, and I say this all the time. I say this with the Rockets. Just because it looks like we're not that far away, like, don't get caught up in thinking that this is enough. Because when we take a step back and look at it, we don't have 2 superstars. I think the only way you can win a team and win a championship in this league or go deep in this league, you got to have either a hell of a star or 2 that split the bill. So.
Can I get
Cade Cunningham is not a hell of a star yet. He's good, but we just need one more that they can split the bill.
That's what
they need one more they can split the bill, and if they split it, I'm cool with that. But just don't get complacent and think like, oh, we good what we got. Let's keep moving forward. Like, nah, adding a guy like Middleton, adding a guy like possibly Bradley Beal, adding a guy like Devin Booker, adding different guys around the league, or Jamal Murray. Adding them guys can help you get to the top. And that's all I'm saying.
To your point about Cade Cunningham, I mean, he looks like he's ascending. He looks like he's going to be one of the better league guards in the game. And over the last 6 years, if you figure Toronto, they had 1 superstar and a bunch of really good players. The Lakers,
they split the bill, though.
Right? And that's what I'm thinking about with Detroit. The Lakers, they had 2 superstars, right? The same thing that happened with Milwaukee. They had a superstar and a bunch of really good players.
Same thing with Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday.
So is it fair to say that with this Detroit Pistons team, Cade could turn into the franchise player that they think he's going to be, the league guard that they think he's going to be? He could turn into that good of a player. On top of him turning into that, maybe Jalen Duren. I think I might
chill. He ain't no. No, he.
I'm thinking about him as a rebounder. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about him as a dirty work guy, and that's what I feel like.
Solid five for sure.
That's what I'm thinking about teams. That's kind of like the mantra because that's what they're trying to do in Dallas. That's what they're trying to do in Dallas in terms of building their unit. It looks like you got the double big lineup and more defensive oriented. Same thing in Oklahoma City, not in Oklahoma City, the double big lineup and more defensive oriented, but you got a really good and you got an awesome player in SGA.
I mean, yeah, but Matt Dallas got an awesome player, Anthony Davis. Like, I don't know. I think people overlook how good Anthony Davis is. Like, I think people genuinely overlook that. Like, that he genuinely could be a superstar on the team and that them talks just went away when he joined the Lakers. But before that, when he was in New Orleans, he was a superstar. I don't know why people just look at it like, people always say Luka got traded for nothing. And it's like, that ain't nothing. That's like something. You can't tell me that ain't something. It's something. Like, and so when you see him do stuff like I think the other night he had a triple-double, damn near quadruple-double. It's like, bro, he's like that. I'm telling you, he's like that. It's just, he went to play with the Lakers, like, alongside LeBron James. So, like, and he played a good role with them, and he stepped up, and he was supposed to be he was a superstar with the Lakers to me, So I feel like, people kind of looking at the Dallas Mavericks like, oh, they just trying to get by, you know what I mean? Like, or they, that team ain't that good. And it's like, you crazy as hell if you don't think AD can take over any game. You're crazy if you don't think that.
I think the NBA is in a different space, Ron.
Yeah,
Where,
he can, Ron.
especially NBA
Any
talk.
game.
I think we in a great space with NBA talks, because we sitting up here. We've been talking about the Detroit Pistons for a half hour. That's what we all with.
They deserve it. They made the playoffs after being with one of the Mars say the second worst team in the NBA. Yeah. So I mean, they deserve it.
It's the player choice way. Yeah, them boys don't get it started. The player choice way. The player choice way. Come and switch lanes into the player choice way.